Morena koutou, haere mai ngā Puna wai oto tahi. Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to ngā Puna wai Sport Complex here in beautiful Christchurch, Aotearoa, New Zealand for the final day of the New Zealand Ultimate Frisbee Championships 2023. My name is Kelsey Bielik and I'm your eyes and ears on the ground for this semi-final matchup between Christchurch Cannons and Blueberries, hailing from Auckland. A matchup between the North and South Islands, both teams trying their best to take this match to the finals. And the other matchup we have is between Ellipsis from Australia and Nexus from Wellington. These teams, the winner of this matchup here, facing one of those teams for the finals. Both teams vying for that opportunity here. It's a beautiful morning here in Christchurch. You can see players in their short sleeves. The Cannons line up in there in dark. Blueberries indicating they're ready in light to come out on defense. The sun is shining. Hats are on. Hopefully sun won't be an issue in people's eyes. And it's pretty calm. We've had some rain, some wind over the course of the weekend, but beautiful conditions to start this, the last day of the championships. Taylor swings to Tiong in the middle. And we've got Blueberries coming down as a match defense, pressuring the undercuts. A lot of volume from the sideline, especially from Blueberries, really picking up the energy to start this game. Tiong finds Cording in the middle for an undercut. Dishy back to Tiong, and she's given us a stunner of a weekend of games. She's been showing her skill not just as a thrower, but also as an all-around athlete with some huge layout Ds and catches, keeping the disc alive. No doubt Cannons are pleased to have her on the field still as a central handler, with Cording running the midfield here. Using the whole team, Jenkins back to Taylor Lenartz, one of the team's captains, as she's waiting for options to open up. Back to Tiong in the middle. A lot of pressure from Blueberries. Cannons, with their chilly patience that we've seen all weekend, inside out backhand to Cording, looking to Jenkins for the first point. Disc on her head, she's got the hat on as she punches it down, celebrating that score. Cannons out with their offensive line, putting 1 point on the board for Christchurch. The score now 1-0 to Cannons. Let's see that one more time. Tiong finding Taylor Lenartz coming around.
Cannons with their chilly patience that we've seen all weekend,
there,
inside out backhand to Cording, looking to Tiong in the middle.
From Cording for the points. Great defensive line. We saw Blueberries coming out strong with that energy. We saw Blueberries pressuring those options with the match defense.
That we've seen all weekend, inside out backhand
coming out with these breakthrows, really capitalizing on the break side of that field for that point. And something for the second point, potentially for Blueberries to note down, that Cannons have those inside out options as well as the arounds, and will punish a mark if it's not being honest, if it's not preventing those options, that Cannons have the throws and the ability to put it on the field where they want. This gives the Blueberries their first opportunity on offense, and a strong offensive line out there. We've got Cannons, meanwhile, looking to convert for a break as the disc goes up. Roller pull, a slight breeze. The disc lands just past midfield. Armstrong picking up. Armstrong with a wealth of world campaigns under her belt. To Huang, who launches it deep. And Cannons player Mance jumping up for the D. In many cases, as you go for that defensive play, even if you don't hit the disc, just adding that pressure, getting in the offender's mind, can be all you need to generate a turn. It looks like the disc was floating out of bounds regardless. Mance swinging wide to Edwards. Swinging it to Cording, who's we've seen in that last point, and now just as well, she's really running the midfield. That said, with Cannons, there's such a depth on this team. So while we do have players, what a take. We do have players who can run the field like Cording here in the middle. She's consistently finding her way open. There is so much depth on the team, so much ability, so that they don't have to rely on one or another player. They do have the role players standing up and not afraid to put the team on their shoulders, but really great to see depth, which has carried Cannons to where they are now. What a throw. Courting, I'm loving these calm passes, these chilly passes. Cannons showing true poise as they're finding each other, and a massive hand block from Armstrong. We saw earlier in the tournament, she's such a poised, such a calm, chilly handler. She's got such a range of throws, and she got a hand block in an earlier game. No doubt she was looking to feed that back, looking to get her own, to even out the score. She launches it deep, but it's a bit too far. At least she's 1 for 1. She's made that up. What a great defensive play from Armstrong. Mance picking up the disc. Can't find the receiver there. Gives Blueberries another chance on offense. Whitlock with the disc. And what a beautiful cut. Huang just open there. Maybe a bit of poaching. We've seen Cannons, especially in this end zone space, we're seeing it again now, tends to put a lot of pressure around the front of the disc, front of the area. Some honest defense here. Armstrong looking, that's a beautiful breakthrow, unfortunately throwing to the turf. Really giving her team an opportunity to run onto that though. Again, throwing to the break side, giving your team a chance to run into that space. As a downfield cutter, it's your dream to receive throws on the break side. It's a lot easier to get open when your defender's on the opposite side of you. You don't have to do a whole lot. Unfortunately, none of her team can get their feet under them to reel that in. Edwards looking for deep options, faking the inside out, and swinging wide to Courting. What a great mark there from Armstrong, no doubt looking for another hand block. Mance looking for options, and this Mance-Edwards option here, this connection, it's something we've seen for the whole tournament. This goes wide. Mance can't reel it in. It's something that it's been really fun to watch those two players in the handler space. They really are in each other's minds. Their communication is mental. What an around throw to the middle of the zone and knocked out of the sky by Courting. Great connections. We're going to see this one more time between Mance and Edwards, no doubt. It's been so good to see their connections with each other. Again, seemingly in each other's minds. The two of them are back there. Edwards picking up the disc. They don't need verbal communication. They've just got such great chemistry between the two of them, which is really what you want, what you get out of being well-practiced, well-drilled, such as the Cannons are. Mance dancing around. Great cover from Charlesworth and the Blueberries, shutting down Mance's cuts. Armstrong looking for options. Quick transition, looking break again. Can't reel it in. But what a look. Ella Lamb hungry to catch that point. Quite a few turnovers in this point. Both teams, it seems like maybe just shaking off the sleep, shaking off the night, and a veteran call there. Just taking a point. Again, as I just mentioned, a lot of turnovers, uncharacteristic from both these teams. With Cannons, as we've seen a little bit, they're giving us glimpses of some beautiful flowing passes. They're not afraid to take time to watch their options open up, and if given the chance, continue the disc moving before the stall even starts. Some beautiful flowy ultimate from Cannons. Some unfortunate misfires leading to turnovers, giving Blueberries a chance, and maybe a case of white line fever for Blueberries in the end zone. Just kind of settling into their space, settling together as a bunch of Blueberries and the Puna together and figuring things out. I'd like to see them take a breath. Armstrong just showing her range of throws here. But taking a breath maybe and maybe settling into a strategy, settling into a play that they've run before, and just being a bit more decisive about their options in the end zone. So often in Ultimate Frisbee, we see a case of this team maybe working the disc down the whole field, making beautiful connections with each other, but as soon as they get close to the end zone, it can be, what happens, we call it white line fever. So much more challenging to just make that one more throw and catch to turn it into a point. That's of course why many teams have end zone plays. They've got strategies and drills that they've run through so that people are on the same page just to make that one more throw and catch to convert into a point. And we're seeing a case of this now with Blueberries. They've had option after option, and I really want to see them you know, make that one final catch. Lamb taking to the skies there. I want to see them make that one final catch, but right now I think they might be discussing how to play good defense and then convert to play some calm, chilly offense, sit back into their strategy, and maybe run one of their end zone plays to put a point on the board. Cannons coming out on offense, though, so if Blueberries does do this, they need to convert. They're on defense. They need to make a turn first. So Cannons coming out and just taking a moment to sit in, looking to keep hold of the disc and not give Blueberries that chance. Now coming out of a timeout, offense sets up first. We're seeing Cannons probably just reverting into one of their classic structures here. Again, taking a breath. Classic vertical stack. Stack a bit far away from the handler. I'm wondering if maybe they'll be isolating cording in the front or just letting the handlers run things. Stack a bit far, but beautifully spaced. So offense sets up and then defense sets. Looking for an inside out. What a throw to McGinnis. Swinging to Mance. To Edwards. Edwards finding Mance, but Charlesworth with some strong shutdown handler defense. Cording coming back. I'm loving this Charlesworth-Armstrong connection. They're both displaying really strong shutdown defense, not giving up any cuts. It's not the flashiest kind of defense, but that's almost what you want sometimes. You want to take away all options. Mance finding Edwards. A bit of a short distance. She throws a forehand and it's got a bit too much power on it, resulting in a turnover. Armstrong to pick up. What an inside-out throw. Finding Charlesworth downfield, faking the inside, and engaging her dump. Engaging Armstrong. Lays her body out in the air. A great attempt to keep the disc alive. It could also be the morning dew on the disc here, making it a bit slippery. Armstrong can't reel it in. We've got Edwards picking up. Force still backhand. Actually, it looks like Blueberries here giving them a middle force. Force middle. So on defense here, Armstrong, again, forcing to the middle of the field. And that's preventing options like we've seen here. So a lot of the hawks downfield that happen, a lot of the massive gainers that a team might have. And Edwards to Cording in the end zone for the points. A lot of the gainers, though, that a team might score tend to happen down the sideline. The sideline offers a really great space for a hawk to come off, shooting straight down the line, giving the downfield an opportunity to run on that. Of course, it's a lot more difficult to throw a hawk down the sideline if the mark is right in front of you, stopping that from happening and forcing the disc to the middle of the field. It can also be really difficult on offense when you're a downfield cutter trying to make a continuation. When you make a continuation cut, but the force has changed, all of a sudden you thought you were cutting to the open side, you were working to get there, but it's turned into the break side. Unfortunately, the Blueberries weren't able to convert that. No doubt it was making things, slowing things down a little bit for the Cannons there. Stopping, we saw, I think that was Douglas with the disc on the sideline for the Cannons, looking for that throw on the far sideline, which came up, picked up by Mance in the middle of the field. But making it just a bit more difficult to put on the flowy, long throws to make those continuation passes. It's a defense that needs feedback from the sideline, and we were hearing this loud sideline from Blueberries, reinforcing to the mark on the field which direction they should be forcing, force middle. And that's another thing in Ultimate Frisbee, the sideline. Is just as important as the people on the field. You know, it takes a team to win a game, and the players on the field are supported, you know, by the people on the sideline. The players on the sideline still part of the team, and just as important, letting the players know on the field where the dangerous spaces are, who might be open, how to play stronger defense. The huck goes up. We've got Charlesworth running deep, and it's cleaned up by Ella Lamb. Lamb to Huang. Swinging to Iris Lee. Back to Huang. Wow, firing that inside shot, threading the needle, and first point on the board, Melody Young to Ella Lam in the end zone. Blueberries celebrating that hard-fought points. And what a treat to watch that point. I love the chilly movement, the classic Blueberries offense that we're used to seeing. Blueberries, of course, fresh off of a Worlds campaign, WUCC, where they were the Aotearoa New Zealand Women's Club representing the country. Blueberries at the World Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. Opportunities like that give clubs, especially here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the opportunity to present at the world stage. It's tournaments like this that really give players a chance to step up, to play against talent across the country here. Really exciting to have Auckland versus Christchurch, two teams that, you know, the cities are quite far apart from each other, and giving these players a chance, you know, to play against different players that aren't just in the local leagues. But also on the world stage, Blueberries playing there and you know, giving the players the opportunity, the club the opportunity to grow and be playing against different teams, you know, across Europe, North America, you know, South America, across the world, of course, that they, you know, different strategies and testing the abilities to work in ways that they haven't seen before. It provides a great opportunity for growth. So some skills that they're no doubt bringing to the field here. We have Emma Menzies with the disc. And I love the way Emma Menzies plays ultimate Frisbee. We'll watch her on defense here. Maybe if there's a turnover, we'll get to watch her classic throws. Such beautiful technique in the way she does throw. Cannons coming out on offense, though. Tiong with the disc. Swinging wide to Teo Lenartz. Back to Tiong. And handlers here to Edwards, they're really waiting for options. Again, we're seeing quite a deep stack from cannons. That can give players the opportunity. Unfortunately, it can give them the opportunity to set up for a cut, but when you have an athletic defense, it also gives them a chance to accelerate and run through defenses, and we've seen a few of those examples today. Emma Menzies with the disc. As I mentioned, a beautiful low-release forehand. A treat watching that player throw. And she's looking for the upline in the end zone. Tan just throws the disc a bit wide, a bit too much inside-out edge on that. Leads it out of bounds. Oh, what a point it would have been, though. Teo Lenartz picking up the disc on the sideline. Marked by Crystal Sweeching Tan. So you see Tan slightly farther downfield. She's not quite at the cone, and that's because that's where she threw the disc out. The disc went out of bounds at that point on the line. So Teo Lenart's able to walk the disc up again to where it went out of bounds. Big mark from Tan, forcing middle. As we discussed before, swings middle to Edwards. He's under tight pressure, but cleans it up. Over the top pass to Tiong, tears it out of the sky. Backed by Sarah Chow. Again, big mark from Blueberries. Tan throws an inside. And those inside-out shots, they're so beautiful to see, and they're beautiful to see because they're actually quite difficult to place. Let's see that one more time. She's firing inside out, trying to find Edwards, but they come out like a laser, and you have to find exactly where the player is going to be. There's not a lot of room for error. Chow looking for Menzies. She's going for that strike cut one more time. Opens up Tiong. And as the defense, there's the mark to throw break, but maybe a bit too much sauce on that break side throw results in a turnover. Edwards on the disc one more time, picking up. We've got the classic deep stack from cannons here. Disc goes high, but cleaned up by Besseling. Teo Lenartz launches her classic backhand huck. Menzies takes to the sky to play defense to make the transition. Tan working here with Menzies in the handler space. Swinging wide. Ling swinging to Chow. And this is one other point about Blueberries I love to watch. The way they play. O'Connor with the disc now. There's some superstars on this team, very similar to Cannons. There's a lot of talent. Launching it deep, looking for Sarah Chow. Sarah Chow catches it safe in the breadbasket. Blueberries take to the field. They're stoked about that point. Emma Menzies with a smile on her face. What a throw it was. Outside in forehand, dropping exactly where Sarah Chow was. What vision on that throw. A massive open side hook. She's looking off the handlers, making those fakes. And then Menzies fakes to the break side, sees that cut developing, and Chow's speed, her safety with the disc, sees it into the breadbasket for a point. As I was saying, a really great on display from Blueberries there. They're such a deep team, and again, while they do have standout talents, one thing I really enjoy is seeing points like that where every player on the field touches the disc, and it's a true testament to the trust they have as a team. You know, they might be throwing to cutters downfield, but it's not just the handlers that have the beautiful throws, that have the spice to get creative with their decision making. It's the cutters too, and there's trust for those cutters to be making the decisions, to be moving the disc. Yeah, and everyone on the field working together there. You know, you can have teams with 1 or 2 players who just run the entire show and win a game. You can win a tournament with 1 or 2 standout players. But personally, I'm also just such a big fan of teams that, you know, really involve every player. What I really enjoy about Blueberries as a club is that they really do involve every player in the points. And it can really work out beautifully with points that we just saw there, Menzies to Chow. Cannons on offense. Hungry to respond. We've got Menzies with the disc one more time. She's sticking with the D-line, launching the disc downfield. And we've got the classic dynamic duo, Edwards and Mance. Mance seeing the disc into her hands. Big mark from Chow. Edwards finding courting under. Disc flies up. Mance playing back up there on defense. And also this forced middle, pressuring a lot of looks. Mance launches it deep. Results in a turnover. It looks like there may have been contact. Edwards was looking for far there. Let's see that one more time. Launching it to Becky Farr. Takes to the skies. And yeah, just trips there. A beautiful look. Farr, no doubt, maybe, you know, thinking about that tonight, about jumping just a little bit higher to reel it in. But a good safe defensive play. Menzies picking up. Edwards poaching in the front of the stack. Cannons maybe playing a bit of bracketing here on defense. Or Edwards maybe just reading where the risk is and poaching in. Menzies with a strike cut. Sounds like there is a pick on the field. I mean, Cannons with a relatively clean stack. Of course, that doesn't mean that picks won't happen. Picks when there is contact or the potential for contact defensively, when a defensive player can't keep up without, again, initiating contact with any team, and a pick is called. Blueberries cleaning up their vertical stack to prevent that. Raindrop chasing the disc down, takes to the turf, can't reel it in. That swing pass was just a bit too far. Edwards on the disc. And we're seeing Cannon sending that third handler into the stack. Oftentimes in a vertical stack, they'll bring, teams will bring, oh no, they'll bring a third handler out to just clean up that space. But the end zone is full. I love that great look from Edwards just to the front of the stack, and a great bid. Unfortunately can't convert. Edwards hot, she's hungry for the defensive play. Difficult when you've got such energy on offense, players running through the disc and not giving up those options. Chow launches it to Tan, it's a bit of a blade. Courting knocks it down. Fierce on defense, fierce on offense. Samantha Courting, we saw her in the air as well, and she's such a dynamic player, a true athlete, a menace to mark, a menace to be marked by her. She's got backgrounds in volleyball, playing at the highest levels, and can definitely get in the air for those spikes or to reel a disc in. O'Connor with a disc, marked by Mance. Working the disc down the line. Weindorp looking, again, working down the line here. Blueberries, oh, push pass it looks like from Chow. I love that cheeky pass there. What a point. And you know, it can be good to center the disc. The sideline is a really difficult, small sliver of space to work the disc. At the same time, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Some great cuts, some great movement and continuations down the line there. Love the creativity. I think that was a push pass at the end. We'll see maybe one more time. If it ain't broke, why fix it? You know, and if there are those continuations, wine drop there. And then opening up, Chow finding the strike cut. Great leading pass. She fakes the backhand. Oh, that was a backhand, just a pop pass to the points, and a great point for Blueberries. It can be helpful to swing to the middle. When you're in the middle of the field, of course, as a thrower, you have so much more space to work with. You have the open side, the break side, and it gives the cutters a lot more room to get open. Sometimes we say in Frisbee, you know, when you have that little sliver of space on the sideline, we say don't jam it up the jam hole. The jam hole being the sideline, you know, open it up. Maybe add some peanut butter, some extra condiments to that, not just the jam. So Blueberries obviously not having an issue, and if it ain't broke again, why fix it? They're making those beautiful continuation cuts, making those looks to convert to a point in the end zone. The score now, 3-2. So, yeah, that goes both ways. We've got Blueberries having scored the last point, coming out on defense. We've seen a lot of match defense, which is exciting to see. Also unsurprising, given the conditions. Light winds right now, it's died down, no rain. And with a team such as Cannons, they've displayed themselves time and time again with their zone offense, like it's their happiest place to be. Chilly, you know, just waiting for options to open up. And good to see that match defense coming down. It's a decision I think I would be making as well as the Blueberries. And not an issue with such an athletic team, such a deep roster, such strong defensive lines for the Blueberries. Good to see them coming out there. Taylor Lenart's looking for the cut there, but the tenacious defense, the sticky defense from Tan, shutting her down. What a catch from Gordon over there to reset the disc, but really strong defense from Blueberries, putting pressure on the cuts, resulting in the turnover. We've got Weindorp picking up the disc there, looking for options. Nice catch by Mace. Finding one drop again, and she's looking for Dolan downfield. That outside in edge is a bit too much. It carries the disc too far. Maybe, you know, a flatter release there could have carried it a bit further. And for a receiver like Dolan, she's a threat in the end zone. Could have given her a bit more space to chase it down. A minor execution error gives Cannons another chance on offense. We've got Tiang walking down to pick up the disc. Made by Taylor Lenart's McGinnis in the handler space. Such a dynamic trio. Also, really strong cutters in their own right, showing the depth of the team. Taylor Lenart's clearing out. Bit of congestion there. With Douglas also coming back into the handler space. Tiang looking for McGinnis deep, and puts it into just enough space for a safe catch. McGinnis sees it into her hands, and we've got Far with the reset. McGinnis, what an exciting point. Sounds like there's an injury called on the field. Hopefully not a cramp this early in the day. We've seen a few of them over the course of the weekend. Taylor Lenart's maybe just taking a break, maybe a niggle that she wants to save. Cannons, of course, picking up the disc for Blueberries, accompanied by Menzies in the backfield, and a beautiful vertical stack there. Very clean to avoid any picks, as happened earlier, with an open and break side cut. Great initiation before, you know, stall zero. And Tan coming out of nowhere. Was the disc up, though? Or maybe tacoed? It looks like if she had control of it when she landed on the ground. I think it looks like she did. And what a safe catch. She was cradling that. So tacoing a disc, of course, indicating that the disc might be broken or bent or out of shape. It's really challenging to play with a Frisbee, an ultimate Frisbee that is bent. It doesn't fly right. It can be difficult to read. So great for Tan to recognize that. A great play by Tan as well, recognizing that and tapping the disc in. Tan with a background in dance. We're seeing that agility, the body awareness to be able to throw her body around and execute some amazing plays like that to keep the disc alive. She's got the disc one more time. Ooh. A sliding catch, but Ling keeps it alive. Ling with a fiery strike cut. She's bringing the energy that she wants to the point, an inside-out pass. Bender with the disc. Engaging wind drop, who clears out, centering to the safe hands of Menzies. And a big mark from McGinnis. She knows that Menzies has an arsenal of throws in her back pocket. Back to Bender. Classic seeing Blueberries using the whole team. And what a point from Jenny Ling. She would, unfortunately not a point from Jenny Ling, but she sees the disc into her hands. Looks like it was out of bounds there. I love the movement. Again, the trust using the entire team, options coming out of every direction. And then on that break side, you know, not flooding the space. There was patience from the other people on the team. They were leaving the open space open for one player to run into, not clogging it, not bringing other defense unnecessarily into that space. Tiong walking the disc up to the sideline. Underneath, snaking underneath the arms, unfortunately into the hands of Emma Menzies. Bender with the disc in hands, finding Menzies. Menzies fakes that inside out. Weechen drop. That disc is flying fast, but it's no match for Weechen drop's speed. What an inside out throw. Barry's picking up the tempo, increasing the temperature. Oh, what a point! The sideline explodes. You can see the celebration there. Picking up the tempo, and as I mentioned before, they're bringing their own energy to this, and that's such a key point. Obviously, having skill, having throws, having athleticism, and ultimate Frisbee is key. Oh, beautiful inside out. Faking the around, finding Menzies, and then Bender just finding that open space, seeing the disc into her hands. Great give and go pass. As I was saying, you can have skill, you can have athleticism, you can have all the throws in the book, but if you don't have the resilience, the mental strength, the toughness to make the game your own, we're seeing Blueberries coming out and reminding everyone here this is their game. They're bringing their own energy, and right now, Cannons need to match that if they want to claw back to the 2-point lead that Blueberries have. Blueberries sending another defensive line out there. Looking downfield at options, I'm guessing they'll be coming out on a match defense. Right now, and again, with such a deep and talented team such as Cannons, really important to be assessing the skills, the speed, the strength of the players that are on the line, and to be making intelligent matchups. You want your strong handler defenders, such as Tan, Armstrong, shutting down and reading that handler space. You want players with strength and speed and quick agility to work to even attempt to shut down Samantha Cording on Cannons. So really important to consider critically the skills of each of the players on the opposite side of the field defensively, and who is matching up against whom to try to slow their passes, slow their cracking energy, you know, their momentum, slow that velocity down to a trickle, to just a drip if possible. Cannons no doubt about to come out firing. Huge pull from Coral Huang. And Mance with a safe catch centering to Edwards. The dynamic duo they are. Bessling passing back to Edwards, who fakes the inside out to Mance. That throw wasn't on earlier. I think she's probably conserving the disc there, considering that it's a bit of a trickier throw. Cairns swinging to Edwards. And Blueberries again with their force middle mark, launching the disc wide. Mance to clean up. Oh, sorry, that's Fraser to clean up. Victoria King scored the game-winning point yesterday to get them into the semifinals. Out on the field again, and she trips. I'm not sure if that was a foul. Or an injury, it looks like. Let's see that one more time. Oh, it looks like Whitlock coming under, maybe had her toes stepped on. Calls an injury. which caused King to take a tumble there. Players discussing what happened on the field, discussing how this substitution will be made. It looks like Whitlock will be staying on the field, or maybe they're discussing a foul call. It's tough to tell. Great communication between the teams right now. No hand signals, making it difficult for us on the sideline to determine what's happening. Of course, it's up to the players on the field to determine what the outcome will be. So, of course, most important for them to be on the same page. Berries on the sideline, giving them space. We've seen such energy from the Blueberries. You can check the ULTI.TV Instagram if you want to see the dancing energy they were bringing on board, bringing into this game, trying to get hyped up, and hyped they were. Staying quiet now to give them a space to talk. But throughout the course of this game, as I mentioned, sideline's such an important part of this sport. They've been shouting, echoing the force call on the mark, really communicative with the players on field. Respectively, just giving some space. Menzies is running on the field to take a knee. To help out, she's a captain on the team, just to help guide maybe some confusion.
Yeah, semi-final 2 is here after that.
Provide some third-party feedback. It looks like there was a foul called. So a foul as well as an injury. Whitlock indicating with her hands together that it's contested. Great energy from Whitlock. It's always a treat to see her play, but she's taking a sub to just conserve her legs, and if they do come into the final, ensure she's 100% for that. We've got Charlesworth on the disc with Mance looking for the option. Cannons keen to get back on the scoreboard. We've got a hammer from Edwards. Cannons with a hammer, and what a point. Adele Bessling, she's all smiles as she's caught that. Hammer's always fun to see in this game, but can be a bit tricky to catch the Frisbee upside down. It's the reason we don't see players throwing throw after throw as a hammer. Not an issue for Adele Bessling as the receiver. And what a cleanup from Fraser there. She's such a big target. It's so comfortable to throw to her as a handler or as a thrower. You know she's going to get it. She's not afraid to take to the skies or take to the turf, but bending over there to scoop it up. And there is the point one more time. Bessling cleaning it up. What a hammer from Edwards. And if you like what you see, if you're a fan of the live stream, if you're a fan of watching Ultimate Frisbee, this whole thing is supported by ULTI.TV, the tech crew behind the scenes, making it happen. And if you want to support watching games like this in the future, be sure to head over to their Patreon. That's patreon.com/ULTI.TV. Toss some pocket change their way, or if you're feeling a bit more generous, maybe the cup of coffee tomorrow morning or a little bit more. Help support the growth of Ultimate Frisbee and the ability to watch it worldwide. We're tucked away in the corner here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, little corner of the world, so not quite the same time zone. But kia ora, hello to players who might be watching from overseas. Nice swinging movement from Blueberries handlers. We see Whitlock back on the line, toe recovering from the step that it received earlier. And what energy they're bringing to the field. Huang with the disc. We normally see her in the handler space, but I love to see her downfield as well. Massive shoulder fake. Armstrong taking to the skies. Beautiful layout for him. That's textbook. Seeing it into the end zone. Melody Young with the points. High fives between the team because, well, there was an incredible layout from Armstrong, an incredible catch from Young. It was a team effort all around. Again, Blueberries winning as a club. Lose as a club, winning as a club, but they do it together as a team. Something I love about this team. Cannons, of course, with their own energy. I'm always a fan of the players, of the teams that start with music. I'm always a fan of the dancing warm-ups. And Cannons, of course, also have that. While Blueberries were on the live stream, we'll see if we can catch Cannons with their dancing warm-up as well. Such positive vibes from them. And they're coming out looking to respond and like kind on offense. Seeing what firing bombs they can put up. Discussing, we can see the entire team down there. Just as Tan is on the line there, it's really important. We've been discussing the importance of the sideline, but the importance of cannons, the entire team taking a need to listen in to what the strategy will be on offense. This is really important so sideline can know and echo so they can help provide guidance and also know what the strategy is. Of course, more difficult to provide guidance and support from the sideline when you don't know what your team is doing. The disc is launched downfield, Teo Lenarts and Tiang handling. Cuts from open and break side, classic vertical stat. Tiang clears out, disc goes wide. What a layout from Becky Farr. Centers back to Teo Lenarts. Jenkins wide. Fakes break. And Teo Lenarts is looking for it, comes all the way around for a dump. Clearing out again. And courting as high as she can get. The fighter pilot she is able to shoot things down. She can't quite get high enough to reel that in. This gives Blueberries a chance on offense. We've got Farr on the disc. Inside slicing throw from Weindrop. Nice movement. Chow running in for the safe dishy. Owen inside. Oh no, we might be seeing another injury. Anna Dolan took to the ground. And it looks like she's calling a foul there. We'll see that one more time. An injury regardless as she runs off the field. Tan taking the field. And one thing with injuries, though, that I do really like to see is that when a player does call an injury, it's always good to see them running off. It indicates that it's not a bad one. It's not a bad injury, that maybe they need a breath or two to recover, because, again, both of these teams vying for that place in the finals, and if they do make it to the finals, they want everyone on their team feeling fresh. They don't want them running through the niggles. Depth on both teams as well. Players who can jump in and provide that break. Tiang looking to the break side. A bit of congestion there. Maybe confusion with double cutting, but not an issue as Farr gives it to Tiang, launches it wide. Douglas takes to the turf, but can't reel it in. A lot of turnovers in these points. And again, I think it might be the energy that both teams are feeling. Maybe a small case of the nerves for both teams. And potentially also evidenced, oh, we see that beautiful deep huck. Courting is there. And hugging O'Connor. Love that, the energy. We can see players streaking onto the field, the high fives, the joy. Oftentimes defensively, so Courting jumping up, trying to force her offense, force O'Connor. Tan launching that downfield. Courting going early. She's trying to get O'Connor to honor, just gaining the positioning. Again, you don't need to jump high if you have positioning under the disc, if you've boxed the other player out, and that's exactly what O'Connor has done. She reads it so well, sees it into the end zone, and then my favorite part, she's looking for the continuation pass. It's not over until you see your teammates celebrating. I was saying uncharacteristic turnovers from both teams. Both teams, as I've mentioned, a depth of talent, really skilled throwers throughout the team, not just among the handlers. And so surprising to see many turnovers across all of these points. Teams have called timeouts to try to reset after the turnovers and bring the attention back. Of course, every turnover is giving the other team the opportunity to score. However, also could be indicative of really strong defense from both sides. And both Blueberries and Cannons have really drilled that. So many players on Cannons, I know, defense is their favorite position to play, they say. Yeah, handler, cutter, really where I like to be is playing defense and shutting things down. So also potentially just that pressure that they're seeing now coming towards the end of the tournament, making cuts harder from both teams. Cannons on offense, Manson Edwards with the disc. Weindorp on the mark. Great break throw to Douglas. Back to Mance. And again, we're seeing all of these cuts that they're contested. Players hot on their heels. Blueberries making everything just a little more difficult. Mance, we're seeing far. Mance to Edwards. Mance launching it deep to the break side. Courting, it's hers this time. She launches the disc to the ground. She's frustrated she's missed those last few ones. She's normally, again, the fighter pilot in the air. When the disc is in the skies, it's hers to bring down, and this one indeed is. High fives from Cannons. They say psychologically that teams that touch each other more, that high five more, they have their arms around each other in the huddle, tend to do better. There's more trust that you cultivate that way. And Cannons definitely giving the high fives, bringing that positivity, and also trying to carry that momentum. It's often big plays like that, big points like that. And again, you can try to carry that, continue that going into the next point. Something that I mentioned with a timeout can really put a halt to. Timeout can just put a stone in the cog and stop those gears from going, just providing a critical break, a time for a team that's really firing to have to stop firing and just talk for a minute. Cannons, no doubt, there's no timeout called, but Cannons, no doubt, trying to ride off that energy, continue that momentum going into this defensive points. You might be able to hear Richard Fernando on the sideline, clapping his hands, strong defense here. He's been critical. He's been the linchpin in organizing the tournament, providing support. Big shout out to Richard Fernando, but also in providing coaching support for the Cannons here. He's a little bit biased, no doubt, hailing from Christchurch, looking for a Christchurch victory, but also big thank you to Richard Fernando in helping to organize and put together this entire thing. Massive defensive play by Victoria King. We've seen some big defensive plays from her. Not surprising, but I'm nonetheless stoked to see it. Mance to Edwards. Finding Sisson wide, back to Edwards. To Cairns, back to Mance. Nice flowing movement from the stack here. Mance looking for Sanders cutting under, but can't find her. Handlers waiting for opportunities to open up. A lot of separation there. Finding Besseling wide. Besseling with a high backhand to Mance. As Mance launches the rocket downfield, finding to space. But difficult when a fast player, a strong defender like Melody Young is downfield. She's used to receiving those looks, and she has no issue D'ing them and getting into position to hit it down. One thing Edwards was really looking for there was to find that receiver and give them space to run on the disc. Melody Young just in position to take it down. Now she's caught under for the first throw of the possession, sorry. And what defense from Victoria King. She's looking for another one. She's out of position on the mark. Disc goes deep. Lamb sees it down into her hands. Another point for Blueberries on the board. And what a hug from Coral Huang. Again, interesting there. King, she's such a strong defender, and she was going for that defensive play. Now, an issue when you fully send on defense, when you overcommit, sometimes that means you get the D. We'll see that one more time. Victoria King closing in hot, but she's also out of position, and that 1 second is just enough time for Huang to have, Coral Huang to have the entire field in front of her. No mark to shut down any of the options and launch it downfield. Coral Huang, such a range of throws. She's such a weapon, and giving that throw everything to convert another point for Blueberries. Blueberries now starting to pull away. We saw Cannons again coming out firing, but Blueberries starting to pull away, making the score 7-4. Blueberries on defense now, no doubt hoping to convert this and score one more point to take half, which will be at 8, game to 15. Of course, the game isn't closed out for Cannons. Really strong mental strength on this team, really resilience. They've had quite a few players who've played at the world's level, internationally as well. We were talking about Blueberries as a club, but such depth, such experience on that team too, which really lends itself well. And positions like this, when you might be down, knowing that you can't give up, that you still absolutely are in this game, and that can be all you need to bring it back. Blueberries need to keep the pressure on, keep it going if they do want to take this half. Tiong to Teo Lenarts. Finding a great cut from Anna Cairns. Back to Tiong, who launches it deep. The disc fades, it's fading to the break side. Just enough for Holly Mace. There was a lot of separation there, but Holly Mace sees it down. It was such a beautiful hook from Tiong, and the wind just picked up a little bit in that last moment, and Tiong with the run through D. Bit of clairvoyance, knowing where it was gonna go, and just cleaning it up. The disc with Victoria King at the moment, dishing back to Tiong. Pardon me. And I love when the disc is in the hands of Tiong. She has such good vision, such ability to make a range of throws. Unfortunately, that went a bit too wide for Fraser. Chow with the disc. And she's shown herself as a player who she's playing downfield, she can handle, but she's also scored a few points in the game. And it's one of my favorite things to see as a receiver, as a handler. She's a bit of a multi-tool when it comes to her abilities, everything she's got. Tan, the blue racer, swinging to Menzies. Beautiful technique on that throw. Love to watch those backhands. And Tiong once again reading where it's going to be. That's the second defensive play, the second turnover she's had in this point. Taylor Lenarts with the disc, launches an outside in forehand. Pop pass, Cannon's really using the whole team here, finding players downfield. Taylor Lenarts launches her classic signature backhand huck. Unfortunately, the disc sails out of bounds. Can Tiong initiate another turnover? She's really been generating the Ds for Cannons. We've got Chow picking up again. Blueberries looking for another chance to score the points and to take half. Bessling on the mark. Finding Tan, launching it deep. We've got May streaking deep, and she catches it in the end zone. Blueberries take half. In this, the semifinals for the New Zealand Ultimate Championships 2023. Taylor Lenarts is feeling the pressure here. She's such a mentally strong player. She's so resilient, playing her heart out right now. Blueberries, high fives all around. They're riding this high. We'll leave you at half. I'll be tuning in soon for the second half of this, the semifinals for the Women's New Zealand Ultimate Championships here 2023 at Puna Y Sport Complex. I will see you soon. Kia ora koutou, haere mai ngā Puna Wai, oto tahi. Hello everyone and welcome back to ngā Puna Wai Sport Complex here in beautiful Christchurch, New Zealand. We've got the second half of the semi-final matchup of the women's division, Blueberries hailing from Auckland versus Christchurch Cannons. Starting off the game hot with Whitlock to Huang. It's too fast even for the introduction, folks. I'm out here introducing, getting us prepped, for the second half, just establishing where we are, and Blueberries doesn't have time for that. They're too fast with the score. Great movement right off the bat between Whitlock, launching it deep. What a beautiful huck to Wong again for the points. And I guess that's about all there is to say. Here we are back. Beautiful conditions. Sun's out. We can see guns out on the field as well. Players in their short sleeves. Great conditions. Slightly overcast, and that just means that sun's not in people's eyes. Not in Cora Huang's eyes, that's for sure, in catching that deep huck. And gives Blueberries, who took half, one more point on the board. Let's see that one more time. Oh, that's a point to take half. That was the previous one, Holly Mace. A great throw from Chow, finding Tan, who's demonstrated time and time again of herself as a cutter, as a tenacious cutter, a strong deep threat, but also as a strong thrower. Same with Cora Huang, as I was just going to mention. She has got an arsenal of bombs in her back pocket, and great to see her in that deep space as well, showing that she's a threat. You know, if you don't respect that deep cut, if you don't respect her cutting deep as a handler, she's going to punish that in the deep space. And Whitlock with that beautiful forehand huck. Disc coming up from Emma Menzies, launching it deep with the pull. Edwards to pick up on offense to Mance. Disc coming up right away. Can McGinnis get there? Love the energy as she chases it down. She can't clean it up. Such a good decision, though. Again, to that break side, what a good throw, what a good look. When you're making mistakes, when you're generating turnovers, Dolan goes up a bit too early, and McGinnis gets that needed turn. She couldn't reel it in, but she can get that turn on defense, giving Cannons another chance on offense. I was saying when there is a turnover that happens, you want to see turnovers that are good decisions, you know, that are execution errors, misreads, because that means in the future you can work on execution. You can work on reading the disc better. It's much harder to improve decision making, which is a bit more subjective and ambiguous. Cannons showing that's the case right now as they're in play. Beautiful outside in backhand, and what movement. Cannons responding just like Blueberries came out firing. Cannons responding. Courting with the styling knee slide. Putting a point on the board for Cannons as well. Responding again with that same energy. Blueberries came out firing. They came out with speed and strength, and Cannons showing that they have that too. Let's see that one more time. McGinnis, such a threat in the downfield, such a threat as a handler as well. That beautiful outside in. And Edwards finding Courting, streaking to the break side, really punishing the mark. You know, if you're not coming around, if you're not really actively stopping those options, Cannons will be taking them. As I was saying, the types of mistakes you want to be making are the execution errors. Again, Cannons showing us that is the case right now. A mere bobble with a disc, a slight misfire, because when it happens again, it's a perfect completed pass. It's a perfect completed throw, and it's a point in the end zone, bringing the score to 9-5. Blueberries up. This means Blueberries, for the first time in a while, will be coming out on offense, an offensive line on the field. I'm guessing they'll be coming down in their classic vertical stack. Both teams running a classic vertical stack. Mance launching the disc downfield. And great movement right off the bat. We're seeing Blueberries in a horizontal stack, or split stack, it looks like, a split stack with stagnant side. So the stagnant spaces on the sides of the field. Wong launching a backhand, finding Lamb, cleaning up. Such a treat to see Lamb running on the disc. It always appears as if the throwers are throwing to nowhere, and she streaks out of nowhere into that space. Blueberries now for the second point this half, really showing that they don't need much time at all to get the disc in the end zone. And I love that point there because we saw a diversity, we saw swings between the handlers, we saw some nice undercuts, and then we saw, again, Lamb, she shows that the disc is always, it's thrown to space, and She manages to run onto it. It seems that the handlers are just throwing it into space. Who's there? Lamb comes out of nowhere just to clean that up. We've got O'Connor with the disc. Blueberries back on defense. Meanwhile, downfield, the entire team of Cannons crouching down, listening in to the offensive plans, selecting who's needed on the line, no doubt looking to balance cutters and handlers. Cannons, I'm really excited to see what they put on the field with that last point. They came out firing, they came out with their own energy, and energy is what's going to carry these teams into the victory. Who can match that? Who can come out with the cleanest performance, the speed that is difficult to match on defense, that defense just can't keep contained? And Cannons showed us with that last point that they have that as well. I'm excited to see that again. In the meantime, Connor shielding her eyes from the sun as it's coming up with the disc. And the team discussing what they'll be running on defense. Who will be marking who? O'Connor launches it downfield. A floaty huck, giving the team time to run down. Teo Lennartz picking up on offense. Tiong with the disc, commanding in the middle of the field. Finding King, back to Fraser. Fraser looking at options, finding the backhand break. Or, apologies again, forced middle, so that was an open side throw. Back to Tiong. Forced now away as she launches it downfield just over the defense. Point for point, Besseling launching the disc in the air, celebrating the catch she just made. And what a throw that was. I think that was Jenny Ling on defense, and she was in position. She was playing really well there in space and shutting down the option. However, it's difficult to defend the perfect throw. Tiong recognizing that and launching it over the top just so she couldn't jump up and reach that, and dropping it with that outside-in angle, dropping it exactly where it needed to be into Besseling's waiting hands, the breadbasket. The score now, 10-6. Cannons up 1 with 6 points. This is a game to 15 as we inch closer step by step. Trading point for point here in the second half. And you know, regardless of where the score is, both teams coming out here saying it's important to remember score is 0-0 coming into the second half, and who's going to win the second half. It's of course helpful to have a bit of a cushion in the lead, but at the same time, important to not settle into that, to give up that momentum, give that energy, and start to feel too comfortable, especially with a team like Cannons, with the energy, the tenacity, because they will punish that. They will come out firing if Blueberries let their foot off the gas even a little bit. The disc goes up. Blueberries on offense. Whitlock picking up, finding Armstrong. Armstrong with some sneaky shoulder fakes, finding Young in the middle of the field. Charlesworth taking to the ground just to ensure the disc is safe in her hands. Launching it to Young, 2 players deep. No match for Young, the speed takes her. She changes direction, comes to the ground. Blueberries streak onto the field. We're seeing a lot of similarities with the points that Blueberries are scoring right now. Mainly that they're very quick. There's not a lot of time that they have the disc in hand. Not a lot of opportunities they're giving the handlers to play defense. Sorry, they're giving Cannons to play defense before they're putting 1 more point on the board. Blueberries 11, Cannons 6. And that's something also that can be difficult to stop when you don't have a lot of opportunities on defense. It's difficult to figure out how to shut things down a bit better. One thing Cannons can do, I think they've been playing fantastic match person defense so far this game. And I think they can keep that going. However, in an effort to stop that momentum, Cannons, of course, coming out on offense right now, but just commenting on that previous point, if they do come out on defense, they could consider maybe switching things up. Switching things up on defense, maybe with a similar force middle that Blueberries have been throwing, maybe doing some bracketing. We saw Edwards pinching off the front of the stack before, of the vertical stack, to stop some undercuts. So maybe doing some poachy, saggy defense, allowing a bit more space. There's ways to kind of switch things up without committing to a zone, or the mix between kind of a match and a zone, running some junky style defense. There's things that Cannons could consider to combat and stop these really fast points from happening. Right now, of course, focused on offense, focusing on conserving the disc. Courting, running this, she's launching to Menzies. Menzies launches a cross-heel backhand. She's trying to find Dolan. And Dolan, again, claiming that positioning under the disc. It's really difficult to defend a disc. It's really difficult to get that when the other person has the space. And that's reading. We can see here that Dolan is an avid reader. No doubt of books, but definitely of discs. And what a throw from Menzies. That cross field, outside in backhand, snaking across, and there were two defenders on her. Maybe a beautiful option initially, but towards the end there, maybe a bit concerning. Not the case when you have a receiver like Dolan, again, reading where the disc is going to be. And even if you do have the hops for days, even if you can take to the skies, it's not always necessary when you have the positioning, the space. She saw where it was going to come down, got herself into that space, jumped up safely with two hands to bring the disc down. We've got Blueberries coming out on defense. The score, of course, 12-6. Cannons coming out on offense again, another offensive line for them. And we know that Cannons have a lot of strategy. They've done a lot of thinking behind the scenes. They're really well drilled. They're focused on athleticism. They're running pods in addition to trainings. Now I think would be a really good time for a pull play. A pull play being a set strategy, a strategic play that you're running right when you receive the disc. It's something that you run and that you call on offense. And it's a clean way to try to score a point quickly. They could also be running a string where they call plays. They're coming down in a horizontal stack. Great movement right off the bat. Edwards with the disc. Finding King on the wing. With a dishy pop back to Mance. Finding Sanders wide. Sanders commanding the field there. She's telling King where she wants her to be. Come under, come under. Faking wide. And the disc with King. It's been such a treat to watch King, a really strong player. And the beginning of the tournament with a few less touches on the disc, but she's really come into her own, not just as an offensive player, running the field here on offense, but also defensively. She can't get in front of Emma Menzies with her clairvoyance, knowing where it's going to be. She got the turnover, showing her low release backhands. And now finding the options. Chow, I'm loving this point after point where players are taking to the ground to keep it up. Weindorp with disc in hand. Looking for Tan and bobbles it. An uncharacteristic bobble in the end zone. Means it's a turnover, but what a good look. Again, if you're making turnovers, this is the way you want to be making them. You want to be making good decisions with good open receivers, because you know the next time Tan receives that, she's getting that look from Weindorp in the end zone, it's going to be a catch. Cairns launching it deep, looking for Bessling, looking for King, and Menzies cleans it up there. She's got great skills on the Frisbee field, also part-time janitor on the Frisbee field. One of the best cleaning ladies out there. Chow looking for it in the end zone. Takes to the skies, but the disc is out of bounds. And just a wee shout out, I was really impressed the last possession for the Blueberries. So much athleticism. Chow I think that's the second time she's taken to the ground, the second time the disc was thrown her way that she's had to take to the ground to try to reel it back in. But just before her, Charmaine Lee keeping the disc alive as well. We're seeing athletic plays from across the team for Blueberries. Looks like Tan calling a travel on the disc. Edwards just backing it up to the line. Finding Mance. Oh, and Lee's hungry for that Callahan, but not possible with the offense attacking the disc. With the clean throws that Cannons are putting out there. Disc with Sisson. Back to Edwards. Finding Cairns in the midfield. What movement right now, what beautiful movement. Mance finding that beautiful look downfield, Bessling with disc in hand, centering, and the wind takes that just a little bit too far. You may be able to hear that a little bit with the mic. O'Connor with the disc in hand. And looking swing, she's engaging her reset. Oh, and a beautiful inside-out swing. Menzies looking for that deep option, but a great mark from King taking that away. Weindorp to O'Connor again. And great pressure on the mark. You know, when you do have a big mark like Cairns, putting pressure on the disc, taking away options. And I could hear the shouts from the sideline, away, away. And I think she was just really hungry to force the D there. She was taking away as many options as she could, which was successful. We do say in Ultimate Frisbee, you want to keep a strong force. You don't want to get broken. Getting broken is the worst thing that can happen as a mark, really. However, if you get a hand block, and if you're going to get a hand block, you can really force any way you want. If the disc isn't going past you, it's up to you. Disc launched up. The angle on that a bit too sharp. Again, the wind gusting slightly now. More likely to put blades on forehands, more likely to make backhands drop or float, depending on the direction. Just changing the dynamics of the game slightly. Lee to O'Connor. O'Connor looking for Dolan deep. Dolan's timings on those deep looks, just always beautiful. Tan seeing Menzies streaking downfield, and Menzies maybe a bit too fast with that cut. She's speedy. Chow finding the disc again, but Karen says, not in my house. This is interesting. It's the first point this match where we've seen both teams really trading. Great ultimate both sides. We're seeing more of this in the first half, though. Maybe both teams kind of settling in with a stronger defense, you know, taking away options. We're seeing a few more turnovers. And O'Connor falls over. It looks like there's an injury. We'll see what Tan's looking for there again. Finding Chow, but Karen says not today. O'Connor's indicating her ankle. Unfortunately, this might not just be a cramp, maybe a sprained ankle. She's got help from her teammates walking off the field. And now on her own, hopefully, it can be quite scary. I know definitely in the moments. Notoriously, I can comment on my own sprained ankles. When you feel that go and you feel that pain, you're just not sure of how severe it is. Nonetheless, good to give it a break and assess, you know, what that damage might be. It can be really scary, though, to fall over and feel that pain. So O'Connor taking a break, and hopefully she is all good. We've got Bender taking her place. Karen's launching it deep, and the wind carrying it out of bounds. Weindorp, she's been such a foundation working in the backfield here for Blueberries. She's got such a range of throws, also just such a threat downfield. She's picking up the disc on the sideline where you want a calm, confident handler like Weindorp to be. Lee launching it deep, she's looking for Tan, and Tan, the athletic player that she is, with that hot closing speed, her ability to take to the skies and to launch her body out there, it's a bit too far for her to reel in. What a look, what an option. I'd like to see Blueberries, in the very beginning of the game, they were having some issues. Again, I mentioned with the white line fever, just seeing options but not quite executing, getting them to where they needed to be, and I think we're seeing a bit of that now as well. Not quite converting the points. They seem to be doing really well with the larger options. A quick shout out to Tan's layout on the mark there, but can't get past Edwards' huck. Nonetheless, Cannons on offense. Edwards looking for options downfield. Cairns coming under to attack the disc. Swinging it to the middle. And you know, I thought that was going to Bestling. But it wasn't, it was cleaned up. Great point to Sisson. They say in Ultimate Frisbee, you know, if the disc is coming your way, if you can catch it, then you should. If you can catch it, if you can keep it alive on offense or defense, then the disc is meant for you. And I'm not sure, I can't read Edwards' mind to who exactly she was throwing to there. We see that wide look to Cairns. Pop pass back to Edwards. And I think she, unclear, but you know, one thing's for sure with Cannons, having those two options is critical. So if Sisson had missed it, you know, it would have been straight into the hands of Bestling, who's shown herself, she's proving herself, as she has in the past, but consistently as such a solid receiver, racking up the stats, scoring the points for Cannons. But if you can catch the disc, then why not do that? On defense, you're generating the turnover, you're keeping it safe, of course, catch your Ds. And on offense, you're just ensuring that the disc is kept alive. Even if it's meant for someone else, if you can catch it, then you should. And this is true in all cases, but especially in the end zone, where she scores that point. Great heads-up offense. Tiong with the pull. Launching that, ripping it downfield. With Blueberries responding, we've got Leung picking up with Armstrong. Blueberries with their offensive line on the field. Armstrong waiting for options. There's not a lot happening downfield. Really strong defense from Cannons and a really deep stack right now. We've seen Berries punish that deep stack with run-through Ds, you know, when undercuts are set up. And I'm concerned that they're giving Cannons that same opportunity as we just saw there. When you're setting up an undercut from really deep, you know, you can give fast defense like Douglas the chance to kick into that fifth gear and run through for a defensive play. I'd like to see Berries setting up maybe a bit closer to avoid that from happening in the future. That said, big ups to Douglas for reading that and punishing that. Oh, and what a point. Cannons showing a well-drilled end zone play. McGinnis with the agility, ankle-breaking cuts that she has, putting another point on the board for Cannons. The score now 9-12. Oh, apologies, that's 8-12. Blueberries still up. And that defensive play right there. Cannons showing, of course, that this game is not over, that they are still in it. McGinnis, she's got so much energy about her as a player, and she's really bringing that to the game now. As I've mentioned, it's the energy, the completed throws, but the energy, the speed, and the there's a cheer about this, the juice, the fire, the hot desire to win the game, and McGinnis is showing here. I love how she brings that to the field. She brings that to the team. Such a cornerstone player for the team, not just with her skills as a thrower, as a receiver, her agility, her speed, but also as a team player on the team, the positivity and the energy she's bringing, scoring points like that. Tiong looking to repeat the same pull she just had in that last point, the break that Cannons scored. She's going to launch it downfield. Cannons with their D-line. And when you do pull downfield, the disc hanging, offering the chance for the team to get down as fast as possible. No matter how far you pull it, if the defense isn't running down there fast enough, you're giving the opponent, you're giving the offense a chance to work it up, just as far, making up those yards that you've worked so hard in training to throw. We've got Douglas looking to repeat what she just did. Disc going wide. Lamb closing that out. Teo Lennartz fast running with her. Set up on defense. Ella Lamb, look at that. She's shouting, let's go, let's go. Teo Lennartz in position, but you know what? It's hard to D a throw like that that's into space. I think Blueberries handlers have been consistently impressed here. Cleaning that up. There's no need to lay out when you have those wheels under you. I've been consistently impressed with the throwers and the handlers here on Blueberries, finding their player. Cannons, we've seen points and points again on the open side. They are set up on the open side and they are defending the open side, but when they're slightly deep, the Blueberries throwers are recognizing that and they're throwing slightly in front so the player can clean that up in the front of the end zone. And when the Cannons players are marking under, when they're marking closer, Blueberries, we've seen Weindorp do this, launch like a little bit of air behind it just to float over or float past. Here it was the angle on the disc, throwing it into space to go past Teo Lennartz on defense so that the offense can run, clean that up. Here in this case, Ella Lamb with the wheels under her, clean it up. So just recognizing defensively what's there and accommodating for that with the throw. Of course, a nod of respect to the receivers who are working hard to reel it in and score those points, but also a nod to the throwers out there on the Blueberries club team who are making that possible. Menzies launching the disc. We've got Cannons on offense, sending their O-line down there. Edwards to Mance in the middle of the field. And she's looking right away for that backhand look. And I love that. What a throw. What poise. And, you know, we've got Sanders who was in position. She was keen to nom up that long throw. It was a good connection. Wind carrying it just too far. Also, when there's that type of celebration, like Tan had, and she's got speed as well as a defender, but there's still that celebration. She was rushing to make up those grounds, unfortunately results in the turnover. Blueberries off to the races, swinging the disc across the width of the field, using the whole field, but Cannon's defense really working to shut down all the options. Difficult for a player like Menzies, who's so quick as she launches it deep. Edwards in position on defense, accompanied quickly by Bender, and it looks like Bender makes a quick call and retracts it. Something that I definitely have a lot of respect for. Ultimate Frisbee, as a self-refereed sport, means that players are calling the fouls themselves. They're determining when contact is made and making that call, and it's important to know, you know, if you do think that there may have been a call, if there may have been contact, if it may have impacted the play, you can make that call and, of course, retract it if you consider, you know, that actually you were wrong. A lot of respect for the ability to consider that you may have been wrong in retracting the call. What's a catch there by Bessling? As I was mentioning, receiver. What a receiver for Cannon. She's really making things happen for the team. Cairns as that linchpin in the middle. Looking for the deep look. We've got Mance looking for the straight cut, and Edwards, we've seen her throwing these inside-out connections, but after a turn in a tight game like this, wow, point with Victoria King. Point on the board for Cannons, making the score 9-13. As I was saying, Edwards, she has the ability, she has the throws to be hitting that inside-out cut that Mance is showing. However, in a tight game like this one, and a point where every possession, every throw matters, you don't want to be, you know, wasting turnovers. Again, a turnover, it gives the other team an option to score, and a team like Blueberries is going to capitalize on that. So Mance, you know, she has the throws, but we've seen in the very beginning of the game, I think there was a turnover. So Mance holstering that. She hasn't been throwing those insides to the cuts that Mance has been showing her. Mance seeing that, continuing the cut, and Edwards able to throw an around break, as we see there, for Mance to clean up. On the break side, she's got the field in front of her. She's engaging Edwards as the dump and a high release backhand to Victoria King. So that's a break and then a break, something for Blueberries to recognize on defense. That Cannons are really, really capitalizing on. They're punishing that break side of the field If their mark isn't 100% there, Cannons aren't afraid to make the throw. They're able to make that throw, whether over the top or around, to use the whole width of the field. Cannons on defense now. Tiong with the pull. Whitlock receiving, centering to Armstrong. Finding Young in the middle of the field. Oh, and Meg Armstrong breaking ankles. Somebody buy that defense ankle insurance when you're marking Armstrong. You want to watch out for those guys. Whitlock faking the forehand, finding Young. Can Young keep it in? Not quite. Mance picking up the disc with the classic dynamic duo, Mance and Edwards back. Some conversation now about where exactly the disc went out of bounds. Mance centering to Edwards, and Edwards cleaning up under the arms, finding Cairns. Another turnover, great pressure on defense from Whitlock there. Armstrong picking up, and she is off to the races. Whitlock instead finding the break in the middle of the field. Lamb to Huang. Huang moving her mark around, courting hungry for that D, but Huang moving it with the fakes. Disc goes up, and Victoria King, what a defensive player she is, knocking it out of the sky. Young, such a great receiver, and yeah, I think such an appealing receiver. She's so safe with her hands. She's got so much speed on her. But Victoria King really proving herself, and hungry for the stats on defense. She's shown herself time and time again as a defense to be reckoned with. Disc bobbled up, an unfortunate error to Tiang there. High release backhand. Blueberries get another chance at what they've just put up, and I think that's Charlesworth with the point. Look at that energy. Blueberries flooding the field. And you can hear the chants, berries. And that is game here for the teams. The semifinals of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships at Puna Y Sport Complex 2023. We can see one more time that bobbled reset. And Berries get one more chance to do what they just tried, converting into a point. This means Blueberries will be in the finals. Cannons playing for the consolation. What a matchup it has been. Thank you for joining me here today. We'll be here out all day for the finals Sunday, last day of the Ultimate Championships. My name is Kelsey Bielik. Thank you.